Good day, my friends, and welcome to the Craig Shapiro Tennis Podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Diadora, the brand made legendary by Bjorn Borg, currently worn by world number 26 Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, world number 28 Jan-Lennard Struff, world number 43 Martina Trevisan. See them at Diadora.com. Use my code APPROVED in all caps at HollywoodSports.com for 15% off of all Diadora performance tennis shoes. He was born and raised in Jaraguá do Sul, Brazil, and in 2009 he reached the semifinals of the prestigious Orange Bowl and was the number one ranked junior in Brazil. He captained the UCLA tennis team for 2 years and reached a career high of 371 in the world before he stopped playing. He was Naomi Osaka's hitting partner and most recently as coach Marcos Giron. He is now a prolific tennis personality on YouTube with his platform MYTENNISHQ, but he has recently decided to give pro tennis another shot. Karue is today's guest. What's your ranking?
Right now?
Yep.
907.
907.
Yeah.
So bro, you are by far the lowest ranked player in the history of my show to come on the show. But I have to say, all name Hall of Fame, the greatest name of anyone we've ever had on this show. Karue.
Yeah, Karue in Portuguese.
Say it.
Karue.
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 In America has become Karue.
Karue.
Yeah.
It's not
Which
Karue.
is fine.
It's Karue.
Karue.
Cell.
Yeah.
Prazer, felicidade.
Yeah, that's good. That's
Now,
pretty good.
now, and you're from the south of Brazil. You're from like where Giselle is from.
Giselle is one state down. I'm from where Guga's from.
Explain that.
Guga Curtin. So Florianopolis, Santa Catarina is the state. I'm near Florianopolis, which is like the capital.
And you're from Santa Catarina.
Santa Catarina.
And Giselle's from which one?
She's from Porto Alegre.
Porto Alegre.
Which is Rio Grande do Sul, this state.
Rio Grande do Sul.
Yeah.
For our listeners, the gentleman you hear just said it. He's 931 in the world.
No, 907.
907. And the highest you ever got was 371.
371, yes.
From the south of Brazil, you've had a wild ride in tennis.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it all. You're on the show because you are now a 30-year-old man that's going back out on tour.
Back out on tour, yes. After a 5-year break.
That's it, man. Karue, here we go. So listen, as you know, we don't normally do this. We're filming this. We're on court 6.
It's my court.
At UCLA. We're going to talk about that too. You were the number 6 player at UCLA.
Yeah, I played 6 for a couple of years, 4 for a couple of years.
We're going to get into that, but we're at your home court, the big alum here. We just saw Billy Martin, the legendary coach, is in the club. This is wild to be here right now. I love this. The last person we ever talked to here was Shelby Rogers, actually, was practicing here once. And I know that you have a relationship with her. We're going to talk about it all. As you know, we do a 5-set format. The first set is the off-the-court report. Where do you live?
I live in the South Bay. I live down in like Torrance area right now, but I've been in Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, all the, like just South LA.
You're a South Bay guy.
South Bay guy. I'm not like
South
I wouldn't
Bay.
live anywhere else
South
in
Bay.
LA. South Bay all day.
South Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it down there.
Does the Brazilian in you, is there some correlation to have those big wide beaches? Are you a beach guy?
I'm a beach guy. I've recently gotten into mountains because my girlfriend skis, so I'm getting into the Mammoth and all that stuff. But if I move to LA and I'm gonna live somewhere, I'm gonna live close to the beach.
Now,
Why am I gonna live in West Hollywood?
How often do you go to the beach?
I probably like twice a week.
Twice a week.
Yeah.
You put your feet in the sand twice a week.
I put my feet in the sand. I ride my skateboard down the boardwalk, walks with the dogs. Just like your basic, white guy in the South Bay activities.
And where do you do your training? Do you go to Torrance? Do you play at all the famous spots down there? No?
I do. We go to South Bay Tennis Center a good amount. I go to Carson a good amount, actually, to just like hit there with the guys. Obviously, Marcos. Sometimes we're at the Redondo High School there because they have like open courts. And
man,
you just kind of go anywhere.
LA is incredible.
Yeah, you just kind of go anywhere.
LA is incredible. The courts out here, you go and the quality of the players.
Yeah.
Like you guys know where to find each other, and you guys put it together, and you're either on private courts or public courts, high school courts. It's incredible.
Yeah, we'll go like anywhere that there's a fairly decent, court. I mean, it's the weather is so nice, so we don't have to worry about that. As long as we can just like find a couple guys. I mean, there's plenty of guys that live in PV, Brenda Holt and all that stuff. So it's like,
But hang on a
there's
second.
there's just people around.
You're a real hustler though. Where do you teach your lessons?
A little bit at South Bay Tennis Center, a little bit like at Redondo High. They have like some open course there. Mostly that right now. South Bay Tennis Center has kind of opened the doors for me there with the Henses, and they've been there for a long time.
And how much does it cost to book a private with you?
$250.
And how much does it cost to do a group with you?
I don't do that many groups.
No.
I'd have to figure it out. No, I just like
You're a
right
private.
now,
You're a private coach.
No, I like to do groups. I just recently haven't been coaching that much. I've been trying to train again, and I have the online stuff and with my Tennis HQ, and I'm trying to stay busy with that and not take as many because it's very easy to just be like book as many lessons as possible, but then you don't have time for anything else. It's just like it's kind of easy money, but it's
Sure.
limiting with everything else.
Locks you up.
It locks you up, so it's like I want to try to focus again on my online stuff and on my training, and then I just have regulars that have been with me for a long time, and I work with them. Sometimes someone new, but eventually I'll do some clinics and stuff like that.
What's the name of that place in Manhattan Beach with the famous burgers?
Which
There's one
one?
spot. There's one
know.
spot. No?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Where do you eat down there?
I go to a lot to like just the Redondo Riviera has a lot of good food. Gabby James and the Rockefeller and stuff like places like that. There's a French bakery called Pinwheel. I don't know if you've heard of that one. I just went recently and it was like unbelievably good. Just a lot of good food there. There's a good amount of Brazilian food as well down there. There's a couple spots that make Brazilian food that it's not as easy to find. South Bay has a good amount of Brazilian.
Feijoada.
Yeah, feijoada, some picanha, and all that good stuff.
What
yeah.
place?
There's Panelas. Panelas is good.
Really?
It's in Redondo, and then there's a Brazilian Plate. It's called. It's really close to where I live, and that's a really good.
You put the farofa on
farofa, all of it.
All
yeah.
that.
But I've been like, and they have like a Brazilian market nearby that I can get picanha and I grill it myself and just invite people over. Now we have like a place, we have a yard and all that stuff, so it's nice. It's a luxury in LA to have a yard, so we have a grill and all that. It works out.
Let's move into the second set. This is the on the court report. So first of all, what prompted the maneuver to come back into pro tennis, to play tournaments? 30 years old, you've never been over 371. What makes you decide to come back?
I think it's like a lot of factors. I think this last few years, between working with Marcos this year and working with Naomi at the time and everything in between, I think you just kind of like pick up on a lot of like, ways of thinking about tennis from people who, obviously have great resumes, like Naomi's coach, or we spent some time with Agassi last year, and you just sort of like, you're plucking.
Who spent time with Agassi?
Me, Marcos, and Andre, and Max, the other coach.
You went to Vegas?
Yeah, I went to Vegas.
To practice?
To practice,
And who put that together?
Marcos and Andre have a relationship, they talk, and yeah.
Where did that stem from?
I don't know, they happened I think during COVID. I'm not really sure how it started, to be honest, but
Man, Andre is stealthy. People think Andre's out of tennis, but Andre floats around. Andre floats in and out of tennis.
Yeah, he was really helpful. I mean, he's a really private guy, so he just kind of does his thing. But we had a great 4 or 5 days. It was like a master class in tennis, to be honest, and it really was.
Hang on, where did you guys practice?
At his court. Yeah, the Andre Agassi court.
And where'd you guys stay?
Airbnb, I think. Yeah, that wasn't anything fancy.
And did Steffi practice?
Steffi came out one day. Yeah, we did a little. She hid for a hot second, but I don't think she's playing that much tennis. She still looks like she can rip it. I mean, she looks fit and ready to go.
She came out to say hi. Hit a
but
couple
came out
balls.
to say bye. Hit
and
a
how was
few
Andre's
forehands.
tennis?
I'm just hitting the ball clean, man. I mean, obviously, his movement is not as good, but he hits a good ball, and again, once you let him start talking and just you ask a question. I mean, basically like how I came out of it, it was like, I mean, he was playing like chess and everyone was playing like checkers. You know, like he was 7-8 steps ahead of everybody else, and you're like, whoa.
And so you're telling me that all these little, it's like each little ingredient made you want to get back and play matches.
Yeah, well, you sort of, you know, you obviously also spend a little time coaching, and you see all the, you know, you're coaching juniors, you're coaching whatever, and you see all the shit that they do as well, and you're like, you start picking up on this, like, I do that too, and you almost like you learn by just observing and by hearing.
What's an example of like?
I'd say like, you know, just decision-making stuff, you know, like why go for this shot. It's hard to say, it's like shot by shot, right? But it's like you see a kid doing that and you're like, oh, that was just like dumb. But at the same time, like I do this as well. And you know how they feel nervous and tight and can perform, like, you know, you're playing a J3, you know, in San Diego. It's not that big of a deal, but they're so tight about it, and you're sort of like look back and you're like, man, I was this tight as well, and why was I this tight? Why was I not able to just like, again, feel tight, it's okay, but can I still perform under that pressure? And you know, you just, by doing all that and maybe enjoying tennis without the being conscious of like just trying to get better, I was getting better. My serve was improving, my ground strokes were improving.
Training.
I was training.
You started to play better.
But I wasn't like training that much. I wasn't training nearly as much as I was training when I was competing.
Of course.
You know what I mean? I was hitting maybe, you know, with Naomi or something, but I wasn't like going out to get better for myself. I was just playing tennis. And it's slowly but surely like things like ingrained in your head. Like I always had a bad serve. Like that was like the thing that didn't work for me. And then I was like one day messing around and trying to do like a Pete Sampras impersonation, and I looked at the video, I was like, that looks pretty good. And I was like, why don't I kind of serve like that? And then I kind of just like started doing that, but just in my lessons. And then all of a sudden my serve was a lot better. And then I went to play matches and I was like, oh, my serve is actually a weapon now. That's weird, but this is great because I was always a good returner. Now I'm a good server. Now it makes it easier to play. So it's like, it's a little bit of everything that by now, you know, obviously coaching online and you know, all kinds of things. Then by now I'm like, it's a very simple thing. Can I execute or not? Like, can I play the game that I need to play or not? And if I don't, I lose, and it is what it is. And then you move on to the next. But you don't have to overthink everything. So tennis has become a lot simpler, and that's why I feel like I've been having success now.
But it sounds like you got some money in the bank somehow, and you went to Turkey. Do I have that right?
Tunisia.
Sorry, you went to so you go to Tunisia, but you put some money together.
Yeah. Well, so the way I'm doing it, obviously, we created this online platform now, and you know, having YouTube and all our subscribers, they've been wanting like for me to play for a long time because I played. So basically, every time I was off this year, Marcos and I split the time. We're splitting the time on the road. It was me and another coach. So when I was off and I was in LA, I played a lot of those UTR events in Newport, those PTT events, and I went and played one and I won it, and then I played another one and I won it. And then I went to Ojai and I won it. And I was like,
by the way, that's tough tennis.
It's
man.
tough tennis, you know.
You were winning matches.
I was just winning matches, and I was like, what's happening? I'm just like winning matches. I'm having fun. Like, I'm playing good ball. I feel fit, and I wouldn't say I'm fit to play top 100 tennis just yet, but I'm like, I'm match fit. And I just kind of kept winning, and then I was like,
and Marcos must be telling you you should be playing.
Yeah, and then Marcos is like, just like go get a point. It's like just you got to go get a point.
Marcos told you to get a point.
He's like, go get a point because maybe we can sign into like some 250s in doubles or whatever it is, but you need to have a point, and I can sign in as an alternate on site if I have a point. But it's impossible.
This is the best story ever.
It's a very difficult thing to get a point nowadays because the qualifying draws are so small. There are 32 draws now. Rarely, sometimes they have 64. But in America, you will not get in because now you have ATP points and then ITF points, which is great because then it gives people the reward for playing qualifying and winning rounds. So you have ITF points and then you have national ranks and stuff. So I'm, you know, UTR-wise, a main draw player, but I'm 250 in the alternate because I can't get in. So I'm like, how do I do this? I don't know how to do it. So I emailed the Tunisian Federation because they have a billion tournaments there. I was like, hey, like, can you guys give me like a qualis wild card? And this was like a few months ago, I didn't hear anything back, and then like on a Tuesday before the tournament, I got an email from them and said, hey, we got you a wild card for the qualies of the 15K next week. And I was like, oh shit, I have to go to Tunisia. So like I was like, okay, like I'm going for a week and a half. I had 2 weeks max because I had a wedding back in LA I couldn't miss. It was one of my best friends. And I was like, I'm going to Tunisia, I'm gonna try to go get a point, and I end up like qualifying, getting to the quarters, lost to the 1 seed. And I was like, now I have points, now I can play.
You won 2 matches.
Yeah, 4, 2 in the qualies, 2 in the main.
You won 4 matches.
Yeah, 2 in the qualies, 2 in the main. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
And where'd you rank? And then what happened?
Then I got up to like, I don't know, 1,500, whatever that number is. But at least I have points to play.
And that's a point.
That's 2 points.
2 points.
2 points, quarterfinals of a 15.
And that's it.
That's it. And then I left. I played 1 week, and I was like, I'm leaving because now I can play. I can get into the events in the U.S. or nearby because why go, across the. There's so many tournaments in the U.S. I know they're a little tougher, but it is what it is.
And then you went to Morelia.
And then so I came back. I had probably like a few weeks. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks in LA, or even a bit more if I'm not mistaken, because I was waiting for the tournaments to come back. And what happened was I was going to play Vegas. There was a 15K there the same week as Morelia, but the Vegas future was crazy stacked because there was supposed to be a challenger in Vegas the following week. So everyone was going to play that and then play the challenger. The challenger got canceled, and Morelia, the list just ran. And I was like, I got in the main draw. I was supposed to be in qualies, and I got there, I was almost a seed. So I was like, oh, instead of playing qualies here on a very stacked tournament, I'm going to go to Morelia, see what's up. It looked like it was going to be like a really nice event and a fancy golf course and all that stuff. And went out there.
It's very nice. It's a very nice place.
Very nice spot. And then the club was amazing, 7,000 feet altitude, so very just serve and return tennis. And then I went out there and won it.
Won 5 matches.
5 matches, yeah. Yeah, I won.
Played Monday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Tuesday through Sunday. Tuesday through Saturday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Saturday.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 5 matches, win the tournament.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, it was a good week.
And we saw some video. For our listeners, for everyone, Karue has a vigorous social media presence. And it was buck wild. You had a whole crowd. You served and volleyed on match point.
Yeah.
Ball went long. That's got to be a good feeling.
Oh yeah, I was going. At that point, I was, you're a little tired. It's the end of the week, and
how'd that feel?
Felt pretty good. I mean, obviously, it wasn't like really expecting to win a tournament this quickly coming back. I knew I could, but you never know how it's going to translate. From playing, I'd say, playing UTR events to playing pros and stuff like that. But yeah, I played. It wasn't good tennis. 7,000 feet altitude, so you can't really control the ball.
And that, would it be fair to say that that's why the field is essentially weak? Because most players don't want to play in altitude.
It's a tricky thing. I think it was just one of those that it just happened that a lot of people, I think, were going to play. There was a lot. The field was strong, but then last second, a lot of people pull out because I saw like some guys made finals and maybe didn't want to play another week. And there was a change. A lot of people were coming. There was a lot of South Americans playing. They were coming from clay, and then you're moving to hard. Some of them didn't want to play, and then it was out of my control.
Well, and then the ball flies, and it's just so tough.
Yeah,
that breaks your soul.
Yeah, it just flies, and there's nothing you can do. So I told myself very early in the training to the tournament that I was like, it's just not going to be good tennis. Just like, don't expect it to be good tennis. Just serve well, make some good returns, and survive, basically. Because like it wasn't going to be like. I didn't finish that week going into the next week like I'm playing unreal, like you get confident because you won like 6 matches. I was like, no, I just sort of served well, and I served in volley. Like I try to keep like the match not like very like we're gonna rally from the back because that would be stupid, and it just kind of worked out. And I took my chances. I played I think the 5 seed first round. I got a second round that was pretty easy. Then the 4 seed. Just played a good ball.
So you win the tournament, And you go straight to Harlingen, Texas.
Yes.
And quarter.
Yeah, I quarter. So I got a special exempt because I was in the qualies of that week. Because I won the event, I was able to get a special exempt into the main draw. So yeah, I won it Saturday, left Sunday, took basically that day off. So Monday, Tuesday, I got to practice and then basically start over Wednesday. So yeah, pretty quick turnaround.
And you said earlier we were talking that you kind of ran out of gas. You were pretty
ran a little bit out of gas. I played the 4 seed first round of Harlingen, and Harlingen was like, I mean, there was like 25, 30 mile per hour like winds like every day that we played, and it was awful to play. Like awful. Like it was like, you know, you're playing with the wind, against the wind, and one side like literally impossible to hold serve.
You've lost to a kid who I saw nearly die, who had a real problem in the juniors at the US Open.
Yeah.
Against this hot shot Italian kid, Federico Cina. You played this kid, Kang.
Kang, yeah.
And he is a blue chipper from Stanford.
Yes.
And it was so hot that day. That
it was hot.
No, I'm talking about in the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
It was so hot that day that but this guy is a scholarship player at Stanford.
Oh yeah, he's a great player. I mean, he's 600 in the world, and he's not even playing like.
He's 600, so you lost to him, and now you're back. Now here we are.
Yeah, now here we are. Yeah, I played.
And what's the moral of the story right now? Where are you at head-wise in terms of your tennis?
I'm good. I mean, I wanted to just kind of finish the year, hopefully top 1,000, just so I could play some more main draws next year. That was kind of the goal. I only had a handful of events to do so, and I already did it. So, you know, now where I'm at, I'm going to play one more event in Columbus. 25K, I'm probably going to be in the quali still, but then basically finish the year and then use December to really get in shape for a full season. Because it's one thing playing a couple events, but to be able to maintain, you know, physically a level throughout the year, because being physically sharp and mentally sharp goes really hand in hand, right? Like if you're tired, you're just not making good decisions anymore, and everything just kind of goes to shit. So finding that, I think those are the two main priorities. I think tennis-wise, again, I kind of am who I am now in terms of tennis. I know what I have to do, and if I can do it, great. If I can't, then maybe I'll lose. But
how much money did you make?
How much money did I make? In just 2 weeks, I probably made.
No, what'd you make in Tunisia?
In Tunisia? Oh, I didn't even see the money. It went in everything into expenses. But
no, I know. But what'd you
probably
make?
$450 that week.
$450.
Yeah.
4 matches.
Yeah.
$450.
Yeah.
Morelia.
Yeah.
You won the tournament.
Yeah.
How much?
After tax, $1,580.
$1,580.
Yeah.
Texas.
Harlingen, $690.
Bro.
So yeah, it's pretty shit, huh? You can make that in a day teaching.
How much money did you spend? 10 grand? 7 grand?
Probably close to that. Yeah, probably close to, I would say 7 with Tunisia. Tunisia was a tricky one.
So you spent about 7,500, 10 grand.
Yeah, something like that.
Made about 3 grand, and you're just gonna keep it moving.
I'm gonna keep it moving, yeah. I mean, again, I now have, you know, a little bit of support, and I have my online stuff, and I'm able to not have to be on court all the time to earn a living. So that helps a little bit, and hopefully, you know, I'm able to get sponsorships, things like that throughout the channel, because I mean, I have more views than someone that's probably, you know, top 100 in the world. Like there's more eyeballs watching my channel than there's probably people watching someone who's 7 in the world, which is nuts.
Because you have a vigorous social media.
Yeah.
People have gravitated to you. You guys put a lot. It's another Brazilian guy that went to Pepperdine. What's his name?
Guilherme
Hadlich.
Yes.
And you and he are.
We're
Tennis HQ.
My Tennis HQ is
My
ours.
Tennis HQ.
Yeah.
That's more successful than you could have expected.
Yeah, definitely more successful than expected. Started just as a website, and then I was on court a lot, and I like to do the videography, photography thing. And he was like, why don't you start doing YouTube? And I started doing YouTube, and it sort of took off.
And it's instruction.
It's a little bit of everything. It's instruction, it's match play, it's like sometimes I do a vlog here and there, but it's mostly people come to, I'll do some racket reviews or string reviews, but nowadays it's mostly instruction and more like for not beginner instruction, but like trying to like get like the 4.0s, the 4.5s, the 5.0s, just kind of give them, the way I go by it is like, I just kind of want to give you my brain, my eyes. It's like, why would I do this here, this, that, here, that? Because I think people think tennis at the highest level is too complicated, but it's not. It's the more you can simplify it, I think the more you can actually just have like the meat and potatoes, like, do that well, the better you'll be, and you don't have to like reinvent the wheel all the time.
Yeah, well, I saw one of the recent lessons was don't do anything.
Yeah. Just do nothing. Like sometimes just do nothing.
Don't do anything.
Yeah. So put the ball back on the middle of the court and survive one more ball. Because I think a lot of people think tennis is like golf, that is like you have to have this perfect swing to get the ball from A to B, but tennis is not that. Tennis is a movement sport. You have to be able to move to get the ball back. Move, get the ball back. Move, get the ball back. And so that's why like a lot of people who don't really have great strokes or great shots, but they can get the ball back, they can move and get the ball back, they win more than the guy who has great strokes but can only put 3 balls in the court. It's a very simple thing. So that's what I try to do on the channel, just sort of, again, give a little bit of like that, bring the high level instruction that I've been around a lot, not that even I was the one that created all of it. It's just like I'm seeing this here and I see the same crap at 4.5s. And we're doing the same errors at pros, and we're doing the same errors at 4.5s, and they just sort of interlock in a little way.
Well, I say that all the time, that the mistakes are the same. The player who's 30 in the world overhits on big points against the player who's 17.
Yeah.
The same as the way a player who's a 4.0 overhits on against a 5.0.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same errors.
It's the same errors. It's the same pressure, right? Like if you're playing someone who's worse or better, people get in their heads. I always drop my level when I play someone who's technically worse than me. Like, how do you do that? And I'm like, it's the same pressures. It's just like we are in a bigger stage than someone who's just playing at the club, but you're feeling the same thing, right? So it's a difficult sport to try to like talk about feelings and like how you're feeling in this situation, that situation. But again, that's kind of like what I try to do. And I don't get too technical because I'm not watching the players. I don't know how you play. I don't know your style. So what I can do is just offer, again, a little bit of guidance of like, how to make better decisions, how to see the game maybe closer to how I see it. And again, we all see it in a different way, but trying to give some perspective.
Let's move into the third set. This is the portion of our show where we talk about your career. Now, getting ready for this, I learned a lot about you, but where does your tennis begin?
Home, Jaraguá do Sul, my town in Brazil.
Jaraguá do Sul.
Yeah.
Red clay courts.
Red clay courts. My dad played, just like your competitive 4.5 kind of stuff, and I was just going on court and play around, and
you played in like super nice South American, Brazil country club every weekend, every day, pools.
Yeah, it's like
super nice, like
club culture is different in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Like in America, it's like this like really fancy thing. You're a part of a tennis club. It can't. But I feel like in Brazil is more laid back. Like being that's what my dad does till today. Like he goes plays tennis and he has barbecue with his friends, and it's a very social thing. It's not a stuffy thing. And so you grow up in that. It wasn't like a fancy country club. It was just a nice club. It had tennis, it had golf, it had some. It didn't have golf. It had tennis. It had pool and all that stuff, and you just go out and play some tennis, and that's kind of. And even academies in Brazil, they're typically like, it's not an academy. It's not like an IMG academy or a Wild academy. It's just a club that it like welcomes players, and it's like, here, we're gonna have this here.
Morning to the night.
Yeah.
You learn your whole life at these clubs.
Just like at the club. You're just at the club.
All day, all night. Yeah. Playing.
So I grew up playing there, and then when I was 11, my town didn't have many players, so I started training in Itajaí, which is, they had a big tennis academy center there, but in a club as well, kind of the same Same stuff.
Itajaí.
Itajaí,
Now,
yes.
where's Larry Passos? Where's Guga's old coach?
Yeah, so Larry was like 20 minutes away from that in Camboriú, in Balneário Camboriú. So there's 2 academies, and we just kind of like bounce players around. Some would come train with us. We would train there at their academy. So he had his own like Guga Curtin, Larry Passos academy, and I was with Yvonne Clay and Patricio Arnold, one Argentinian player, one Brazilian player, and all the other coaches there. And I basically started going there a couple times a week, then 3 times a week. Then I'm 14, 15, I moved there and started training every day and stayed there until college, yeah.
And what about Meligeni? What about all these what about Brazilian tennis? You were deep in it? Were you identified as a Brazilian battler? Were you doing that with all these kids?
I was, you know, at the time when I was playing, there was a lot of good juniors, and Brazil always has good juniors, and we keep making good juniors. It doesn't necessarily translate into pros that much, but I was like one of probably the top 5 players almost every year, but it wasn't the best. I mean, at the time, you know, when I was playing, there was a kid who won the Australian Open. He ended up like quitting at 20, 21. And
what about Dutra Silva? Dutra Silva is down the street teaching tennis.
Yeah, he is. He's here now, but he was always in São Paulo. Yeah.
Oh, he was okay.
Yeah, he was always in São Paulo. Like there were some people training in São Paulo, some people training in Rio, and I always stay down there. So some people come through. Some of the other players, but yeah, we had a lot of good juniors at the time. Nobody. Montero is the only one that really like made it and has been like a top 100 player.
Thiago Montero.
He
can play.
He can play. He can hit a good ball.
Now, are you guys friends?
Yeah, we're friends.
Okay.
We're friends. Yeah, we grew up. He's a 94. I'm a 93. So we grew up kind of battling each other, and I played him like 2 or 3 times, and he stayed out playing pros. And for me, it was just like that one thing. Like when I turned 18, there was like in Brazil, there was actually at the time a lot of futures. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of investment, and it was easy to just stay doing that and playing a lot just in Brazil, basically 30 weeks a year. But I was like, I was not ready to play pros, so I came to UCLA, and a lot of people just kind of stayed behind playing pros, and eventually that went away. Not a lot of tournaments, and it's just.
But hang on a second. Did you travel internationally? Were you?
Yeah, I played the ITF tour. I was like 35 in the world juniors, and played all that tour, played the Grand Slams, like did all that.
You did?
Did all that stuff.
Do you know Guga?
I know Guga. I won like the Guga Curtin Cup. They still, I think it was the first one I won it, and he gave the trophy and stuff. I didn't like spend a lot of time with him. Guga's like kind of did his own thing after he retired. He wasn't like that involved into tennis. He has his like charity Guga Curtin School that is like more. It's not like a high level thing. It's just to get kids into playing tennis. He was always way more busy with that stuff than like being around like the high level juniors or pros, whatever. So you wouldn't see Guga lives a great life. Guga just vibes, you know, like he's a great dude. But we wouldn't see him that much. But yeah, I have a picture of him giving me the trophy and all that. It's pretty cool.
Guga just vibes.
Yeah, Guga's a vibe,
Couldn't
man.
be spoken more clearly. So I understand you committed to Florida at some juncture.
Florida State, yeah.
Oh, FSU.
FSU.
Okay. And then
verbally committed.
And then UCLA made you an offer you couldn't refuse. Somebody decided not to come here.
Yeah, I don't honestly. We should ask Billy, but it was one of those like last second. I had a full ride at FSU, and last second I think something opened up here, and it wasn't even a better offer. It was just UCLA, you know, and they were the better team and the more historic team, and it's LA and all that stuff, and last second they kind of swooped in. I knew Marcos was on the team. I knew Marcos from like kind of juniors, Orange Bowl. We played the same events and stuff like that, and and then I ended up like coming here last second, like came here redshirted for like a quarter, and then started playing.
And you guys were bad boys. You had a lot of good players on that team.
Yeah.
But I was told that you were like super talented, but never really like played well here. Like you didn't like really fulfill your potential here. Like you only got to that you were like the number 6 guy.
Yeah.
And everyone was like this.
Well,
guy
I was really fucking good at being the number 6 guy. Some people are bad at being the number 6 guy. And I was being. I have the record of dual match wins in the history of the program.
You have the
in dual match wins. I've won 78 matches for UCLA, and I only lost 12.
78 and 12.
Yeah.
That's your record.
In dual matches, which is the thing that matters. I don't give a fuck about the fall. But when we're playing other teams, I was
but
when I was playing teams, I was a match player.
It sounds like you've always been a match player.
I just don't. The thing is, like UCLA was stacked. I definitely coasted a little bit.
But
I'm not gonna
hang
lie.
on a second. It was like Mackie McDonald,
Marcos Giron, Adrian Pouget, who's a guy who got to 300.
Clay.
Denis Novikov, who got to like 130. Clay Thompson, who was number 1 in the country and got to 400. The entire team got to top 400. 3-4 guys got to top 100, top 150. So it was a stacked team.
Stacked. I just asked the coach. I said, "Well, how come he didn't do better?" He said, I'd have to look." He said, "The team was stacked."
The team was stacked, and you know, so it got to a point where for me, I just wanted to win a national title, and if for me to play 4, 5, or 6, and he guaranteed a point, I was okay with that. I wasn't too worried about like, you know, you have to make NCAA singles and stuff like that. I really wanted us to win a national title. We got really close my freshman year, was the one that we lost the championship point and all that. And that's what I wanted. I definitely coasted a little bit. I don't think I could have played higher. I could have like maybe tried harder, but I was also in a phase where it's like, it's new. I'm at UCLA. I'm, you know, figuring it out, like life almost like outside of tennis a little bit, and not like to party or anything. I wasn't a party guy. It was just more like, just so you're living a new life, and so there was a balance to it all that maybe I could have gone a bit harder, but I also wanted to kind of enjoy what I was doing too.
Yeah, you stand by your career.
I do.
That's what we played. What did you say? 78 and 12.
78 and 12. I was great at dual matches. I didn't fucking lose in dual matches.
78-12.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'd hunker down in you know, during the season from Monday from January through May. I was locked in. Like we were gonna win. I wanted to just be the guy that guys are like, Karue's gonna win. We're already like 1-0 up.
Now, do you believe in college tennis?
I believe in college tennis. I 1000% believe in college tennis. I think for me, basically, if you're 18 and you're not like a challenger player, not a future guy. Like if you made one finals of a future, doesn't matter. But if you're a challenger player, then great, go pro. You should be going pro if you're already 18, winning challengers, making finals of challengers. But if you're not, go play college. 4 years nowadays, people are playing to their late 30s. You know, you leave with 22, you're ready to go.
Now, are you a UCLA graduate? Did you get the diploma?
Yeah, I got the diploma.
Okay.
Yeah.
On time?
On time, 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I did some summer school, but on time.
And then you did not take a shot at turning pro.
No.
No, you went to just muck about a little bit.
Yeah, I just wasn't. You know, you're 22. Like how, you know, it always comes back a little bit to the money. How am I going to do this? No support. I'm not a player, and like not really like an important player in Brazil or anything. So I went and volunteered at Pepperdine for a year. It was actually my business partner's coach for a year. But I kind of kept playing, kind of kept training, but just wasn't trying to play pros.
Volunteer assistant.
Yeah, volunteer assistant.
At Pepperdine.
So no paid, nothing. Just
go to Malibu every day.
Yeah, it was all right. You know, it was like kind of like the thing. It was like I liked it, but it was like it quickly showed me that I was like, no, go play. Like, what am I doing?
And you get to and you played.
Yeah, I played. So the year finished in 2017. Like, you know, we finished in April, May. I went and played a lot of men's opens just to get some money and matches. There's you know, California has a lot of men's opens. You can make great money, like some $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 if you win the event sometimes. So I went and played a bunch of those, and then we used to have Claremont, Fountain Valley.
I used to hear your name all the time.
Yeah,
and
so
I didn't know that much about you.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna start in these tournaments here in California. They're easy to go.
Sorry, you were like kind of like a money player.
Yeah, I was a money player. I was
you
going
were just
going
kind
around.
of you were kind of like an old school like money player.
Yeah. I won so much more money playing men's opens than I've won playing professional tennis. Yeah. I swear to my life. But basically, that's what happens. And then, so I played all these men's opens, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to Claremont. It's the first tournament back. I'm like, this is the one I'm going to start. I'm going to see what happens.
You go to Claremont,
so I go to
California.
Claremont.
UC Claremont.
Yeah, no, they had it at the club there, at Claremont Club.
Okay.
So 128 qualified draw, so 4 rounds to qualify. I qualify. I played the 1 seed, who's Chris O'Connell, who's like 70 in the world right now. Play him first round, the Australian. I beat him first round, and I win the tournament. So like first tournament back, I go and win it. And I was like, well, I guess I'm have to do this now. You know, I'm just kind of like, oh, I'm going to start, see what happens. And I win it. And I'm like, I played Marty Redlicki, who played here at UCLA as well. Was one of my teammates, was #1 in the country. And played him in the finals, won it. And I was on a mission to beat all the guys that were in front of me in the lineup when I came back. So I beat him in the finals. And yeah, and I went quickly into like top 800 or whatever, and then I started playing, and I had a good run as well, like towards the end of the year. And then quickly from that point in September, I think by May I was top 400. Yeah. So 7 months there.
And then you quit.
And then I was just, and then I didn't fully quit then. I was like, I had a little bit of an injury, and then I couldn't defend some points, and then basically, like 2018, I was switching my visa. There's like a few things I had to deal with at the time.
Life.
Yeah, just life stuff. And then 2019 rolled over, and the transition tour came. Remember when they took points away from futures, and they were trying to do this thing where there's an ITF ranking, ATP ranking. It was this whole thing.
You got hosed.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't want to do this. Like I'm basically 550 in the world, but I have to restart. I have to go do ITFs again. Like I can't go into challengers. My point, like my ranking isn't high enough.
Wow.
And you get a taste of like, coaching a little bit, doing some stuff here, and you're like, what am I doing? And then you just, I just sort of said fuck it and was done. And yeah, looking back, maybe not the right decision, but then COVID hits, all that stuff. I didn't really lose that much. Like I lost half of 2019. 2020 rolls over, there's nothing. 2021, there's nothing really, and yeah.
No. But you picked up Naomi Osaka.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, that part came kind of like, again, out of the blue, really. She moved here.
Well, you were licking your wounds, you were regrouping, and you were here.
Yeah, I was just here.
And she moved here.
Yeah.
Did she move here because of Corday?
No, I think she just moved here.
Oh, maybe she moved here because she wanted to get away from the parent? No, because the father was here.
I don't know. I think she just wanted to live in LA.
She just wanted to live in LA.
Yeah, it's a good place to live.
She came here, and because I get my racket strung down the street.
Yeah.
And I actually interviewed Wim for my show.
Yeah.
And she was practicing at UCLA, getting ready for the 2020 Australian Open.
Yeah, it was like last second.
And Wim told me that you're great because you could mimic anyone's style.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I self-proclaim myself the best hitting partner in the world. I'm sorry if you think you're better, but you're not. I'm a good hitting partner. I hit a good ball for girls, and I can just, if they tell me like, hey, play a little heavier, play a little more, the only thing I can do is play lefty. But after everything else, I could emulate a little bit. Just kind of watch the girl play and try to like, emulate the serve, emulate the spin, the shape, whatever. And but also just make sure that, I think people think that being a hitting partner is about just not missing, but it's not. It's just about knowing when to push her, when to bring her in, and just kind of, I was already coaching a little bit, so I had the eye for it. And so I think that helped in a way where it's like I hit a good ball, but I also understand it's like here she's starting to miss a little bit. Let's bring the confidence back up and just like ride this sort of like up and down of a practice, and also just kind of have fun with it. So yeah, I enjoy doing it. I enjoy hitting with girls because they hit a good clean ball, and it's kind of fun. And
you got paid pretty well.
I played okay. Then for how much money she makes, I guess I don't know if I can say I got paid amazing. I got some bonuses and stuff like when we won slams and
really,
and it was good, but
really,
but in general I wasn't like full-time hired. I was also like, again, dealing with some like visa stuff. Travel was a little bit difficult, so I was doing more of the LA stuff.
What's it like to win the major and get the bonus? I mean, that's got to be a good feeling.
It was a surprise actually, the bonus, but winning the major was really fun. We won that COVID U.S. Open with no one there,
so it was a little nuts. Australian and the U.S.
And Australia. We won Australia in the following year. I wasn't at Australia. I did all the preseason.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did all the preseason, but I couldn't travel like outside of the U.S. I was again resolving some visa stuff.
Well, that was the big Black Lives Matter.
But the one that we won,
yeah.
It was the U.S. Open was she was wearing the mask and all that stuff. And it was really crazy.
What were your conversations like? Like, do you have like meaningful conversations with her, or was it just pretty much like you were like a worker?
I think, the approach that I had when I kind of met her was, she's obviously an introverted person, and I think as kind of an introverted person too, you never want someone in your space too quickly, right? Like you're kind of like a cat. You have to like warm to the person. So when I came in, it was very like, I'm just gonna give her space. Once she approaches me, like fine, and then we slowly but surely, me and Wim got along really well, and then I think the three of us started getting along well, and I think we always had a very honest, like, banter with each other. Like Wim was really cool at just like, hey, like, what are you seeing here, and I was able to be honest with her, like, hey, like here I thought you're a bit flat on this match or whatever it is. We had some fun. Like one time at the Australian Open, she was, it's a funny story. That first Australian Open that we went, she lost to Coco, but like the first round, she lost a ton of break points in the match. She just just couldn't get through the break points. It ended up being like a tougher match than it needed to be. So I told her next round, every time she broke in the first break point, I would run a mile. And I hate running. I just hate it. Like running makes no sense to me. And she goes out and like wins 4 breaks 4 times on the first break point. And she looks at me at the end of the match and she goes like 4. And I was like, yes, like I don't care if I have to run it as long as you win easier,
Come on.
And so it was like one of those things where it's like, we were able to have fun. We had actually a good amount of fun, and obviously that COVID year was weird. But we trained a lot, and we had a good time, and again, I think our relationship it wasn't like deep relationship, but it was fun. We had a good time. I think we're able to laugh, and she's an intuitive player. She has that vibe. She's very hardworking on the Japanese side of her, but very like intuitive, vibey on the Haitian side of her. So I think being able to balance those two things is important, and again, she puts her head down and works, but she also likes to have a good time on the court.
She had her issues. Would it be fair to say that you just had to dip because she wasn't playing?
Yeah, I mean, basically how, everything that started, I think it started in Europe after she won the Australian Open 2021, and then she went to Europe, and there were some issues with I think doing the interviews after, and remember that stuff?
Yeah, of course. We don't have to prosecute that, but I'm saying
it just sort of like it became a thing where she wasn't playing, and again, I wasn't I was on a week to week basis, and eventually you just need work. So I was just like, hey, like, I'm sorry, but I need work. You're not playing any events, and you're not training. You're not doing anything. So it just kind of ran its course that way. But I'd be happy to hit with them again, not like work full time, but like if they ever want to practice, I'm down to practice. So yeah.
Best moment on tour with her?
Definitely winning, the U.S. Open was really special, being there, and even though it was like a weird, no one there, U.S. Open, but it was a hard month of just like sight, house, sight, and we were able to push through it and win. That was really cool.
Is she very lavish? Was it like, did you get like an inside peek at like what it's like to be with like the highest earning female athlete in the history of the world, or the world?
I mean, she lives like a pretty nice life, you know what I mean? I wouldn't say she's lavish. I think
she's flashy. She's flashy.
She's flashy, but like I think she knows who she is, and she knows what she likes. So she spends money in things that it seems like it truly like brings her joy. It's not just like, oh, I just need to have this thing or that thing to be flashy. It's just like she kind of enjoys. She bought like this like vintage Bronco that I was like, so jealous. I'm a car guy, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. You know what I mean? I'd be doing that. So she, again, if you're making that much money, like you might as well like enjoy it. But she spends, I think, a lot of money like helping the parents and stuff like that. And,
do you think she's going to play well?
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Wow, bro, you think she's gonna play well? You got a twinkle in your eye.
I just think if she wants to play, she is a lot better than most of the girls on tour.
You're MYTENNISHQ.
Mm-hmm.
What else are you? You're a pro player. You're back
on
tour.
Yeah, I would say those two things now.
You pick up some lessons, $250 an hour.
Yeah, no, not like Muradoglu, not charging $7,000 an hour. It's just a nice $250 if you want to work with me. Like you can reach out to me. But yeah, just not coaching too much. Trying to focus on playing and focus on how I will be able to share hopefully this story of me playing pro again. And I don't like to film when I'm on the road. I'm there to like. I'm a tennis player first, a YouTuber second, so it's a bit difficult to manage both on the road, but trying to figure out how to do that and how to hopefully share a little bit of like what I'm doing. And That's kind of it. I honestly trying not to wear too many hats anymore, trying to focus on this one thing.
What's the difference between 500 and 371? X's and O's, what's the difference?
I don't think there's a lot of difference. I think there's a difference 200 to 500, there's a difference.
What's the difference?
I think everyone is just a bit more professional, a little bit more confident in what they do. I think
faster, stronger, more
I think
explosive.
faster. I don't think they're hitting bigger, but I think it's like with tennis, as you kind of go through the levels, it's like you have to like trust that you belong that level. You know, I had a hard time as I was going from futures to challengers back in the day to kind of almost feel like, am I even good enough for this? And it's a mental thing. You are, but you might not trust it as much. And for some people, it takes a little while to get over that barrier. But once you do get over that barrier, if you have the 2 or 3 things that you do really well and you trust them really well, you get through it. It's just like, it's that trust. And I think that's, I don't, you know, you watch a guy who's 700 and a guy who's 200 live, you're like, kind of like, you don't really know which one is which, but like when you put it together in a season, the consistency of results, of mental fitness and all that stuff, it's like it's a sport that doesn't really reward just level, right? Like, you know, Kyrgios is a top 15 player in the world, probably top 5 in level of talent, but he's not good at doing the business of tennis, right? Like going every week and having to get through it and all that stuff.
Nick doesn't play tennis.
Well, he doesn't play tennis anymore, but you know, when he's playing, like, it's just like a tricky thing. And for some people, it's like it's that part that can be tough. And I think hopefully now at 30, I'm mature enough to deal with it a little bit better.
And you can't cheat the miles, can you? You get hurt.
No, can't cheat the miles. Can't cheat the miles. Do a lot of yoga, man. Yoga, if you're getting older, yoga does tremendous things for you.
How high, this is an unfair question, I'm very aware of that. How high do you think you can go? What level, what ranking can you get to?
I mean, the goal is to play a slam qualies at least. So 250, 240, be a challenger player first, and from there, figure out. I think my personal challenge was like, I was always great at futures, I'm still great at futures. But once you go into that next level and you're playing a dude who's 118 in the world first round of a challenger, you know what I mean? And you might be 320 and you're like, oh my God, this guy's 120 in the world. Like you psych yourself out. So the challenge right now is for me to mentally embrace that battle that is like, if I can get to a level of challenger and consistently win at that level, I'd be pretty proud of myself. And from there, hopefully, again, I don't know, could I be top 100? I don't know. I've had multiple people say, yeah, you should be top 100. But, you know, it's difficult.
I was told that Shelby Rogers was stunned that you weren't playing pro tennis, that she had some influence on you to turn pro, that you were practicing with them. And they were like, wait, what's going on here? How are you not playing pro tennis? Is that true?
I think there was definitely Mark Lucero and Shelby at the time. There was I think they boosted my confidence a little bit to do so. And you know, I think that helped me that first time to go back. And then I think even working with Naomi and Wim always being a guy that was like, you should be top 100. Like, what are you doing? Then I'm just kind of like, oh no, I'm having a good life, I'm living a good life, whatever. So I feel like I've always had this sort of like, you know, I put my head down and I hit and I have a good time doing what I do.
My man, you gotta go play pro tennis. What are you doing?
And it's just like, but it's one of those things again. It's like you go 3-4 weeks on the road and you're just like, fuck this. You know what I mean? It's a tough. Some people thrive in that lifestyle, and some people like really struggle in that lifestyle. And like even traveling with Marcos, I'm 4 weeks out. I'm not playing. You know, I'm not home. You know, I'm a bit of a homebody that way, and you struggle. You mentally like feel worse while doing it. So it's finding the way to stay mentally in it, because the level of tennis-wise, I trust my level. It's like I have to keep battling the push and pull of like, I don't want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I don't want to do this. But in general, yeah, I've had a lot of people, you know, say that and put confidence in that, and I appreciate everyone because it really has, you know, sort of flipped my mind with time. And again, I just kind of needed, I think, the maturity to get there.
Let's move into the fourth set. This is a 10-ball scramble. I say it, you say what comes in your mind,
Okay.
we go fast.
Okay.
The PTPA.
Oh, fuck that. Pickleball.
No, PTPA.
Wait, what's the PT? Oh, sorry.
No,
Let's do that
we
again.
don't
Let's do
talk
it again.
about
I thought it
pickleball
was like a
on the show.
pickleball thing.
No.
No.
Do you know anything about that?
I
what they're
know.
doing?
I know very little. I hope it works out. To be honest, it's one of those things like, how is it that we don't have
Better prize money.
better prize money? How is it that we don't have a player union? Like, I don't understand
Well,
it.
that's the thought there, right?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but I don't understand how we don't have it yet. So I really like the PTPA. I've had conversations with some of the executives and stuff, like just random stuff. They were just like, hey, like, what do you think? What do you think about this or that? And I was like, yeah, this is, you know, all this stuff like hopefully helps, you know, bring the prize money up. And again, I'm not a guy that thinks like prize money in the 500s is ever going to be good, but like if in the 250s can be better.
TUEs, therapeutic use exemptions.
Bullshit. I mean, you know, there's a ton of people using Adderall right now to play, and that's like
Not just playing, but winning tournaments.
winning term. Like there's a quick, like a very big correlation from like the moment you start using Adderall to like winning more. It's bananas. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but
We're not going to say names. Solution?
I just don't think it should be allowed.
Adderall's a performance-enhancing
I think
drug?
it's a performance enhancer. He's mentally like you can just be sharp the entire time.
We're hearing that it's becoming a big problem, that it's becoming a big
Yeah.
problem. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think it's a problem. I don't know how many. I know some guys that are using. I only know American players that are using, but I don't know like around the world like who's doing, who's not. But if more people are hearing about it, I'm sure it's a problem.
Your favorite player growing up?
Federer,
Your favorite player now? Is there anyone out there you'd love to watch play tennis?
Carlos. I like flashy guys. I like guys that do it and do it with style.
On the women's side?
Iga. Really like Iga. I think Iga is just fun to watch.
Would it be fair to say she's the best mover?
Oh yeah, that's why she's you know the best player in the world. I think she's the best player in the world because she can move better than most girls.
Is it fair to say that the best movers are the best players?
Best mover is the
Fact.
best player. Fact.
Period.
It's fact. I mean,
Fact.
a lot of people have asked me like, would I beat Naomi? I was like, yes, I would beat Naomi, but not because of pace, but because of movement. Because I can make her move more than you know a female player would. I think I can keep her on the move more often. Obviously the serve and all that stuff, but in terms of pace, they hit the ball as big as guys. It's the movement that's the difference between men and women.
Let's see that racket. What are you playing with? Tell us about this stick.
Yonex 2023 Yonex V-Core 95. This one is painted red because it was a pre-production kind of they were sending to players before the final paint job came out, and
So
I
you
took
got
it.
a red racket, no markings on it. Size of the grip.
Size grip 4/3/8.
What kind of? Is there a leather grip under there? No.
No
Cushion.
leather grip, just cushion and Yonex grip because it's the best
You're
one.
a Yonex player.
I'm a Yonex guy. I was with
you
Yonex.
You say Yonex has the best over grip.
Best over grip.
That's the dry grap.
Yeah.
The super grap.
Yeah, super grip.
That's what you like, the
Yeah.
white one.
There's only 3 grips that someone can choose from. It's this, it's Wilson, or it's Tourna. That's it. Like if you're playing with anything else, you just none of them are good.
And now you did your own string
Yeah.
with Toro line.
Yeah.
And what do you call that string?
It's called the K Pro. Yeah. So
The
it's
Karue Pro.
yeah,
the
the
K Pro.
Karue Pro. So we have you buy
I don't know what
us-
to call you, Karue or Karue.
Karue.
Karue. I'm saying
Karue.
Karue.
My dad
No.
calls me Karue and never that.
Karue.
So it's fine. It's all good.
I like to say it the way you're supposed to. I don't like to say
That's
it
true,
the
that's
way
fair.
you're not supposed to say it.
So we have so if you buy like the K Pro on their website, it's a multi-poly blend. So we have 2 different blends.
Come on, don't give me one square and one is hexagon.
Yeah, one is square, so the mains, you're supposed to do it, the mains are square, so you have wasabi in the mains, square, and then caviar in the crosses, that's a hexagon or a 6-sided.
Toro line.
Toro line,
All
yeah.
right.
So
And what tension do you string it at?
58, 58, 60, depending. I string tight.
Where'd you string it? What'd you string it in the Morelia in the big?
65.
You had to punch it
Yeah,
all the way up.
I punched it all the way up.
Just because you can't keep a ball on the court.
Couldn't keep a ball on the court. Even at 65, I couldn't keep a ball on the court.
Could not keep a ball on the court.
No, it was just like
it's
for
just
the mind.
Too crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's a great string. The square side makes it a lot of spin. It's soft. It's comfortable. I love it.
Player box etiquette.
I mean, do whatever you want. To be honest,
Oh, come on, bro.
Don't talk to the other player. Like, don't shout from the other side.
What about standing up every single point?
If it's getting your player going, it's getting your player going. Fine. I don't like when it's like maybe like Curious forces them to like get up and screaming at them. But like if that helps, it helps.
Big entourage or lean and mean?
Lean and mean. Like people are traveling with way too many people right now. Like let's just cut it down a little bit.
What can you tell me about this kid Fonseca everyone's talking about?
I don't know him at all. I've seen him I've seen him play, and he looks like the real deal. But we never know. We've had plenty of those in Brazil. A lot of them didn't pan out, so we'll just take our time. I
was just talking to a guy that the life is too cushy in Brazil, that these kids need to get out of Brazil to succeed in pro tennis. Is that true?
That could be it. I know we make a lot of juniors and they don't translate into pros a lot. I think a lot of it is that they're not very good at hardcore tennis. I think Fonseca is good, but a lot of times that's what it is, and that can be a problem. I don't make any predictions. I've seen him hit. I'm like, he's good, but we'll see.
How often you go to Fogo de Chão?
Not as often as I should. I'm turning 30 in less than a month now, or in less than a month, in 2 weeks, and Fogo is going to be where I go. So probably once a year.
Let's go to the fifth and final set. This is the king of the court. If you were the king of tennis, you can make a change in the sport with just one swing of the racket without any aggravation. What would it be?
Shorter season. I would just cut basically U.S. Open, would have U.S. Open, try to figure out, I know the Asian swing is an important swing for tennis, for fans. There's a lot of fans out there, so we have to keep that part of the season. But I'd make a shorter season, basically by mid-September would be done with tennis, and then just have 2-3 months of like, you can have like the UTS or like the club stuff, or just like stuff that players can play but have some fun and make some money, but it wouldn't be events, because we're finishing now in mid-November, and then you have to basically start training for Australian Open, and I think no one cares about tennis anymore at this point. You have to be such a hard fan to care about it, and I'll just make the season, January through September, basically.
Good luck with that, pal.
Yeah.
Hey, man, listen. As I told you before we met, I keep my head out of a lot of the instructional online stuff because it bogs me down. I feel like there's so much of it. I didn't know what a great product is. When I heard that you were playing pro tennis again, it sparked my interest. A few others had mentioned you to me. This has been tremendous. Thank you very much. When do we see you next?
So yeah, I'm gonna go play in a week and a half. I'm going to Columbus to play, and that the season will be over, and I'll be just doing a lot of stuff on the channel. So MYTENNISHQ on YouTube.
MYTENNISHQ.
MYTENNISHQ on YouTube, on Instagram, on all social media. It's all that. I'm also personally on Instagram, but most of the stuff it's on YouTube. I'm a YouTube guy. I love longer formats. So in December, I want to have a lot of matchups, get some players on the channel, and battle it out and have some fun. So you can always find me on MYTENNISHQ. That's where I'm at. I'm, as people say on the tournaments, are you Karue from MYTENNISHQ? That's me, MYTENNISHQ.
Hey man, this was a pleasure. Muito obrigado, and thank you very much. This was tremendous. Have a terrific holiday season. Good luck in everything you're doing. Karue.
Yeah.
Karue.
Gotta roll, Karue.
I can't roll like that.
No, the Japanese can say it very well, Karue.
Karue,
really good.
sell. You are released.
Muito obrigado a Karue Cell, and thank you to Diadora. Use my code APPROVED in all caps at hollywoodsports.com for 15% off of all Diadora Performance Tennis Shoes. Max Loeb edited the show. Our music is by Brian Senti. We'll be back next time with more of the most interesting voices in the sport. Until then, I'm Craig Shapiro and you are released.